I come from a very close-knit family. My parents, I think, were the first in their generation and in their homes to be graduates, university graduates. Yeah. So my father always used to tell us, I have a master's degree. None of you can do anything less than that master's degree. So you go figure. This is my standard. That's the first thing. But most importantly, our father and mother encouraged us, and they told us, you can't be anything. In Waita's household, there was no boy, there was no girl, we were only children. And I think what helped me, because I was a bookworm when I was in high school, I used to read a lot of books, a lot of novels, some of them at the wrong time. The teacher is teaching, but I read. And that helped my writing skills. So they told me, you write really well. We don't have a role for you in any immediate editorial, but we think that you can sell because of the way you've carried yourself. Were you interested? I said, yes, you're 23, what are you doing? There's nothing you're doing. I said, fine. So I went in as a sales rep. I worked in advertising, selling space. I sold it for 1.5 years. My results were such that I was promoted to sales manager at the age of 26. With a team, well, of 3 people, well, not many. But it was progress. And then I did that job for 3 years. I was promoted at the age of 29 to be the head of department, advertising manager, Nation Media Group. I had a team of 124. Yeah? But let me tell you the most interesting thing. All the guys, all the managers who reported into me were older than me. And one of them is actually the one who gave me my job. So it was not a very easy space to be in. But that's what I'm telling you, it's good when you have a relationship with God, because He helps a lot of those things. Anyway, so long story short, I did that job. I did it pretty well. I moved out of advertising, moved into circulation. I got to see parts of this country I had never heard of, but this country is beautiful, I'll tell you that. But that job was not very family friendly because my family was very young. So they took me out of there after 9 months and took me to another, we had a division as a general manager called Nation Marketing and Publishing. And what we used to do, in addition to distributing Nation Media Group's products in Uganda, Tanzania, Kenya, we also used to distribute magazines. I wanted change, but let me tell you something, not to self. When you're seeking change, do your research. Don't just do things, don't just, So I moved, the pay was higher, much higher, but I hated every single day. I was so tired. I imagine going to work on Mombasa Road and I just feel tired. You're dealing with creatives. Me, who was a commercial person, I've never dealt with creatives. I'm not talking badly about you. But you're telling a guy, the client wants to see the concept. Today, I gave you the brief 2 weeks ago, then the creative guy tells you, I wasn't feeling the brief. So I didn't know how to deal with these guys. I just want the whole world just to get. So I left after a year. And then I left to have my last born. And I stayed home. I stayed home for 1 year. I was really having a good time. But my husband's eyes were getting redder and redder. And then I realized, if I don't go look for a job, we have to help each other. So I was, Ogilvy came calling. Ogilvy is another agency. And Ogilvy hired me to commercialize their media business. So my job was to make sure that the client's advertising dollars went to the right place. Did that for 2.5 years. Then Standard came calling. And then MD of Standard, CEO of Standard told me, because of your experience in newspaper, and because he had worked together, he invited me to be the managing director of the Standard newspaper. So I went. Again, note to self, do due diligence. And I'm serious, whether you're laughing, but it's true. It was a disaster. There was nothing wrong with the company. There was nothing wrong with the paper, but I was just not a good fit. What was wrong with the place was their culture, and my principles just didn't match. So after 9 months, by mutual agreement, they paid me off, and I left. And I remember having a conversation with God and telling Him, I'm not going to look for another job. Yes, I need to eat. Yes, my family needs to be looked after. But the next job I have, it has to be the one that you bring, not one I go looking out for myself. Because I realized every time I went out without consulting God, things went wrong. Guys meet me, they ask me, Neema, so what are you doing? Nothing. There's nothing in this country that is a conversation stopper. Like when guys ask you, what are you doing? And you say nothing. Because they don't know what to tell you next. They don't know how to react. Because normally people say, hi, I'm Neema. They're like, people ask you, what do you do? Oh, I'm a doctor. Or oh, I'm a teacher. Or oh, I'm a musician. But when you say nothing, you don't know what to say. But you see, in that time I was at home, things were changing. Things were changing in the sense that I got to really know my children. And Mugore might not, I don't know if she'll ever say it, but I think that's the time I actually got to understand how she thinks. I got time to spend with my firstborn. And I realized in my career climbing and in running after those big jobs, I got those jobs, but I almost lost my kids because I didn't have time for them. It was always off to the next meeting, off to the next country. I used to miss sports days, I missed swimming galas, I missed concerts. But what saved me is that my husband stepped in. So my husband was present for every swimming gala, every sports day, every concert. But the reality is I had a role as a mother that I was failing in. So that 1 year I was at home, it gave me time to take stock of what really mattered. And I remember, again, having my conversations with God, telling him, whatever it is that you call me to do, it has to achieve 3 things. 1, it has to give me impact. In other words, I have to be able to impact whoever it is I'm with. 2, it has to help me grow. But 3, it cannot take away from my family. Because I realized at the end of it all that matters is family. So IPSOS came calling. And it was very funny because when I was IPSOS's client, I hated their guts. And so I remember when I got a call from the CEO, he tells me, we'd like you to interview for a position to be Director of Media Sub-Saharan Africa. I told them, you guys are hopeless. So I interviewed, and I proceeded to tell him everything I thought was wrong with the company. The guy listened, he listened, and said, okay, so do you want the job? So you can come and turn this around. So I remember I said, I'll get back to you. So I went, prayed about it, and it was very clear that that's where I was supposed to go. So I remember telling God, if this job is really mine, I'm not going to struggle. It will come to me with the terms that I want, when I want, and that is when I'll know that it is truly from you. Have there been mistakes? Many. Will there still be mistakes? I imagine so, for as long as I'm alive and breathing. But what is different is that I know, for as long as in every single thing I do, I put God first, He opens the doors. And that's my story.
Neema, thank you so much for the inspiration. We deeply appreciate. And many of the people know IPSOS on a different area in terms of opinion polling, political, but at least they've known what they do extra than that. And on top of that, about learning about you, that was so inspiring. We deeply appreciate so much. So all the young guys are here. That's a good inspiration. Let's try and put it into practice. All the ladies say, "Aww."